What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video, and I think you saw the title. So, yep, I was contacted to be on the Bawal Judgemental segment of Eat Bulaga. It aired Monday, January 18, and we were talking about eating disorders, very sensitive topics, but so, booger. I am very happy that a local network was able to think that eating disorders would be a great topic to put out there and talk about, especially as it's very taboo in the Philippines. It's really a great opportunity to get to know what it is better and to understand that it is a thing. Bago natin panoorin, dahil kinakabahan ako panoorin ulit, I just want to share first the experience of filming for Eat Bulagas. If you guys want to jump into the reaction already, I'm going to put down the time as to where you can jump off. But if you want to know about the experience, let's talk about it. So I was contacted about the night before the shoot would happen, and it was pretty intense because I got a message and I was like, who's this messaging me? Kind of a stranger. I wait a few days before I reply, but this time I was like, okay, I'll reply. And it's a good thing I didn't wait any longer because it was apparently an opportunity to be on Eat Bulaga. Syempre, yung concerns ko, safety protocols and all of those things, they did ensure me that the safety protocols would be pretty strict, pretty tight. The staff always gets tested. My one concern though was that the contestants and everyone who was coming in weren't going to be tested. Process before you go in, of course, they do your temp check, they do the health declaration forms, they make sure everybody is socially distant, they continuously sanitize and sterilize the environment. So at least that was good. You really want to interact and talk to the people who you're going to be with and sharing this experience with, but you also have to be mindful about the safety protocol. Anyways, it was a lot of waiting. We waited for like 3 hours before we were finally able to shoot and finally be able to be part of the segment. So that was quite tiring. If you do want to watch the whole thing, the January 18 shooting is the one on their YouTube, also their Facebook. So a quick background of how the segment works. There's going to be a celebrity guest judger, and then there's going to be choices that they call are the contestants basically, and the contestants all have something in common. For this specific episode, it was eating disorders or having experienced eating disorders. Most of us were not professionally diagnosed though, so that's one thing to take note of as well. This is the guest judge.
Joaquin Domagoso.
It's time to boss up. Fix your credit, girl, get at.
My brother said that he is the son of Isko Moreno, and I was like, kamukha niya nga. I don't know if it's that true, but he does look like him. Apart from the celebrity guest judge, they also have another guest judge that they will video call.
I love you.
I miss you, bossing. Happy New Year po.
Miss you. Eto na yung mga dabarkad na pagpipilipian mo. Mga dabarkad, pasok!
Here we go.
Diretso lang po.
That's me. I see my back. Did you see my back? I saw my back.
Nasa likod.
There I am. I'm walking over. Weirdly taking steps as per usual. And entering the pod. So we enter these body shields that they call it, or like pods, and then there's like a microphone and then a place to hang your mask on the side so that you are physically distant from the hosts. And let me tell you, that pod makes you feel like you are a fish.
Walang usap-usap, titigan lang at first impression. Ito na ang mga huhusgan.
They said as soon as we enter the pod, take off your mask, put it on the side, and then don't smile. My gosh. All I do is smile in awkward situations, and so this was hard.
Joaquin, here are your choices.
F.
That's a letter.
That was me wondering if I was supposed to smile. So I was like giving a smile. Parang ngiting hindi ngiti.
Sino-sino sa kanila ang nagkaroon ng eating disorder at the age of 16 years old or below? At para tulungan tayo sa usapin natin ngayong araw, kasama natin si Dr. Bernadette Manalo Arsena,
I honestly hoped that they would find somebody who is specialized in eating disorders, but that's kind of rare, not that common right now. So they know this stuff.
Pag sinabi kasing eating disorder, siya ay sakit, no? Na may problem sa pagkain, sa kanilang pag-iisip, at sa kanilang behavior. So, meron kasing tatlong types, bossing, no? Na eating disorders. So, ito ay yung bulimia, anorexia, at saka binge eating disorder, bossing.
So they started with the definition of eating disorders, very important. So yeah, eating disorders are a range of psychological conditions that are usually characterized by behaviors of abnormal eating patterns. Usually these aren't necessarily about food itself, but about more internal struggles or what the food represents, which for some people would be body weight, body image issues, and the other pressures of life and society. So
Siguro umpisa ako kay F.
F.
Kay F. Si
Jo.
Si Jo.
I love how I was the first pick. Like, I am the one who looks most like I had an eating disorder. Now that we've jumped into that, because the bowel judgmental segment I think is perfect as well for this. For people with an eating disorder, they don't have a look. Those who have eating disorders come in many different shapes and sizes because there's many different types of eating disorders and they affect your body very differently, and it depends on how those manifest in you and your specific behaviors. So there is no one look to somebody with an eating disorder.
Si letter F po,
F,
si Jo.
bossing.
Jo po. Yeah, si Jo.
Si Jo.
Yes, sir.
Okay, si Joseph. Joseph.
Doon ka lang sa ano pupunta.
Jo rin naman yun ah.
Honestly, this part, I was so relieved because I was so afraid to be the first person to talk.
Yung ano kasi, Joseph identified na nagsimula sa binge eating and then he exhibited signs of the condition of anorexia.
Ang binge eating kasi is, kung sa Tagalog, ay sobrang kumain, no?
Sobra.
Na walang limit, hindi nakokontrol ang pagkain, at ito yung resulta nito. Minsan, nagkakaroon sila ng obesity, may problema sila sa puso, at tumataas ang kanilang presyon.
Okay.
So, in other words, nag-increase ang kanilang weight, nag-increase ang kanilang pagkain, at saka usually nag-stress eating din sila.
Yung anorexia naman po.
So one thing I want to note, in the way that she explained binge eating, it kind of sounds like somebody is just matakaw, right? Parang, okay, kain lang yan ang kain. But I want to say there's a big difference between binge eating and overeating. Because binge eating are more episodes or feelings of where you just have this need to put food into your mouth because there is something that you're trying to fill up, but it can't be filled up. Yet you're using food as your coping mechanism. Whereas overeating is pretty normal in the sense that we usually do it on occasions and traditions. Whereas binge eating is more episodes that can happen daily, can happen weekly, can happen monthly, depending on how you're coping or what you're going through at that time.
Disorder na ang feeling mo, pakiramdam mo, talagang kailangan mong pumayat kahit na underweight ka na.
Okay.
Hindi ka kumakain talaga at wina-watch mo.
When you have anorexia, that is characterized by not eating. The fear of weight gain and wanting to constantly try to be as small as possible and lose as much weight as possible is embedded into your mind. So you try your best not to eat, or if ever you eat, it will just be for show, maybe just to make the other people around you think that, oh, yeah, you're eating. Those are sometimes some things that happen. One thing I want to note is that's why it's very, very triggering for some people. When you see somebody saying, ano yan, anorexic ka na ba? We have to be careful when we say those, because what if they are actually battling that? We don't want to create that stigma that anorexic people just don't eat. It's not that they just don't eat by choice. It's because that is what they see is the only choice for them to reach their goals and to be accepted. One thing to note is actually being underweight has a lot more risks than being overweight in short-term period of time, because when you are underweight, you literally have no energy for your body to continue its normal body processes, and you're completely depleted with all of the nutrients that your body needs. So I know we all have these body goals, but we have to make sure we're also fueling enough. So to skip Joseph's story, just because I don't want this video to be so long, I'm just going to try to focus on points that I said, as well as other points for eating disorders that I feel could be touched up or dug a little bit deeper from the episode.
Noise.
Stop it, bye! And now the Wi-Fi is not working and I can't watch the video.
Noise.
So this is very common for those who have eating disorders, especially in the Philippines. Hindi kasi natin alam na baka problema pala ito or it's something that we have to address. We constantly think that kasalanan natin to. Kasalanan natin ang dami natin kumain. Kasalanan natin hindi natin kayang pumayat kahit kumain tayo. And that's also a lot of how our culture is. Rare lang yung mga nagsispecialize sa eating disorders ng mga psychiatrists as well as dietitians right now in the Philippines. Hopefully, in the future, we'll get more of that. And I think that's the big thing that's keeping us from recovery is we feel like we're so alone in the journey. Pero hindi lang kasi natin siya pinag-uusapan.
Atleta. And meron siyang philosophical understanding eh. Tapos, ito na, medical na yung condition. Sino po ba dapat ang talagang unang kukonsultahin natin?
Kailangan yun dalawa. Kasi since may binge eating siya, so usually yan, they crave for carbs, sweets, and fats. No? So biglang taas yan ng mga cholesterol. Malay mo yung kidneys nila affected din. No? So internist. And second would be psychiatrist talaga because at times due to the high pressures, diba, sa bodybuilding, at times they would be prone to pressures in society at nagkakaroon sila ng depression.
So not only for binge eating would you need a doctor, but also especially if you are anorexic or dealing with other eating disorders, as they still do have a very big impact on your health. So I do agree, you should definitely have a physician on board, you should definitely have a psychiatrist, and you should definitely have a dietitian because very important, especially dealing with food.
Doc, ano po ang causes ng eating disorders?
Yung eating disorders, madami kasing dahilan. It could be hereditary. Second, it could also be pressures, no? May anxiety, may depression, at saka yung iba then ay perfectionist sila, no? So, nandun yung low self-esteem, mababang tingin nila sa kanilang sarili, at minsan meron din comparison with other people.
I think the biggest factor is really the pressures of society and those around us and comparing ourselves with other people. Kasi syempre, paano ba naman tayo? Siya kumakain, konti lang. Ikaw, ang dami-dami mo kumain. You know, those simple comparisons na dumidiin na talaga siya sa atin. Hereditary, yes, it's very true that if somebody in your family has had an eating disorder, you are more likely to have a predisposition for it.
Sunod natin si isa pang Joe.
Yun
Yun
na.
Si Michelle. Joe na lang, Joe.
Si Joe F. Si F. Joe.
Letter F. Hi, Joe. Pakilala tayo sa Dabber Cats.
It's me! Okay.
Hello po, ako po si Josebastian. I'm from Quezon City, and the thing that I love to say is you always deserve to eat. No matter what you ate yesterday or whether or not you worked out yesterday, you always deserve to eat.
Always deserve to eat.
Ganda.
Ganda, no?
Ganda. Totoo naman yan.
Talaga ba?
Totoo naman yan.
Pero ang tanong! Tama ba ang pagkakapili ni Joaquin sa'yo sa round 1?
Okay, reminder lang tayo ay nagsasaya dahil tama yung choice ni Joaquin at hindi nabawasan yung 45,000 niya
Yeah.
at hindi dahil sa may eating disorder si Joe.
Me, every time I say my name, kulang po ng Joe. Very, very glad they addressed the fact that we were cheering. It was because of the right answer, not because we had an eating disorder.
How old were you when you went through an eating disorder?
Okay, so nag-start po yung aking eating disorder when I was 13.
13?
Dahil, yeah, opo. Dahil po kasi nagbaballet ako. Part po kasi ng grade namin yung weight. And syempre
May
pag ballet
requirement?
po, opo,
Oo.
part po siya ng grade. Kapag tumaas po yung weight, baba po sa grade. Kapag bumaba naman, maintain nyo po yung grade nyo. Pressured po talaga kayo to be as thin and as small as you can possibly be.
Ano yung naging eating?
So, yeah, that's my story when I started doing ballet, 13 years old, because I get into high school. And we were graded for our weight.
Order mo at 13, Jo.
Anorexia po nung 13 hanggang 16, and then when I stopped dancing, started binge eating na po.
I do want to take note that I was not professionally diagnosed with these eating disorders. I did exhibit the symptoms and the characteristics. Partly anorexia, bulimia, just because bulimia is about purging. Sometimes you purge through vomiting, but you can also purge through laxatives or exercising. And my mode of purging was through over-exercising and through laxatives. I would take like 2 laxatives para lang matae ko lahat. Kala ko pumapayat ako, pero alam ko naman water weight lang yun. And it was very bad for my digestive system.
Anong nangyayari?
Oo.
Paano ginagawa?
One theory po kasi is the set point theory, which says that our body has a specific weight that it wants to maintain for us to be healthy. And this is different for everyone. Not necessarily based
So family! Give us a picture of it.
nice. So one thing is, when you try so hard to, deviate po from that body weight, your body's gonna do as much as it can to bring it back to a healthy and safe space.
Okay, in Joseph's case, it was his sport that dictated na yung point niya. Sa'yo naman yung art mo.
Yes po.
Okay.
So from
Just so you know, I was trying so hard to speak Filipino. Pero baka magkamali ako ng sinabi. This is just a sensitive topic, and I didn't want to say something by my lack of conversational skills.
ballet, I tried so hard to be as small as I could. So I ate 8 bananas a day, or kaya pagka walang kanin, sobrang liit lang na ulam. Tapos when I stopped dancing, my body now wanted to gain back the weight.
What was your weight before? Nung yung dinidikta nung art mo, yung dinidikta ng ballet, ano dapat yun?
The lowest weight that I reached was 99 pounds, and I'm 5'5".
So I was quite underweight, and 99 pounds, I was going for 97 kasi yung kasama ko sa ballet na kasing tangkad ko, 97 pounds lang siya. But her frame is just much smaller than me in general. Me comparing myself to her, assuming that was my healthy, ideal weight.
So after that, kapag bumalik na po ako hindi na po ako sumayaw, doon na po yung katawan ko, lumalaban na po siya in order to bring me back to a healthy weight. For binging, kasi it's not necessarily every day naman po, but usually sa weekends or whenever makakatago ako.
One big difference from overeating and binge eating is the shame that always comes with binge eating. Kaya usually yung mga nagbe-binge eat, they do it in secret. They hide. It was in a room, dark room, closed, watching a show, just eating and crying at the same time. For some people, it might be middle of the night, but doing it in secret and doing it alone.
Bahay, para hindi malaman ng magulang ko or ng kahit sino.
Pero, when you start, tuloy mo.
Come on, Jose, join the conversation.
Nandito lang nasa isip ko lang.
You're not joining the conversation.
Ayaw mo
What's the problem?
Pakituloy mo, pare. Pakisabi mo na.
Yeah. Dapat talaga may mga sensitivities talaga no? And ako bilang magulang, medyo napukaw ako dun sa sinabi ni John na 13 anyos siya. Doc, ano po yung pwede nating abangan para maalagaan natin yung mga red flags, para maalagaan natin yung mga bata?
Red flags! Red flags.
Monitor natin yung ating mga anak closely. At tingnan nyo kung pag kumakain kayo, kung meron bang unusual na nakikita nyo sa kanilang style of eating. You know, the slimmer you are, parang the more beautiful you are, di ba? Parang
lalo
ganun
ngayon.
Di ba? Parang ganun sa mga magazines, di ba? Ang mga artistas, and mga models. So, usually pag ganyan na age, nandun yung idea mo na, ay, gusto ko ganyan to kaya.
Importante daw yung weight in the sense that we are constantly pressured. And I just want to emphasize, hindi lang babae, pati lalaki, lahat ng tao. Because our culture and our society is very weight-centric. Na ang kahalagahan natin na iniisip natin, yung worth natin, pati yung health natin, palagi linked sa weight. And not necessarily, no? So, that's just one thing I wanted to say, like, yes, we are pressured by weight, but not just women, everyone. You are not defined by your weight. One thing I want to tell you guys is during the peak of my eating disorder, one of the things that it made me do was search every single actress that I loved, search their height and weight, and compare myself to them. So silly because we are different body types.
Ano yung masasabi mo na maaari nilang gawin at that point, kung lalo na they're a young teenager?
I think one of the biggest triggers or one of the biggest, what we call this, influences in a child's life is everybody who comments on their body. So, di ba po pagka, holidays, mahilig tayo mag-comment na, tumaba ka na, o kaya, kamusta na yung love life mo, gano'n. Yung mga comment po na yun po yung mga dumidiin na hindi natin napapansin. Slowly, every day, the things that we hear, the things that we see, they leave a big impact on you day to day. And yun po yung isa sa mga naging trigger ko dahil po, nung first day ko sa school, nilinya po kami lahat. Tapos sabi, ikaw, kailangan mo pumayat. Ikaw, ang laki ng tiyan mo. Ginanon po kami lahat. Literally happened first day. We didn't even get to know each other. Like, our fourth years or anybody there, we didn't even get to know each other so well. But the first thing they did was line us up and tell us we needed to lose weight. So what I can say to those who feel like they're struggling through this is, one thing, you might feel like you have to do this. You might feel like you have to be thin because that's what everybody says you have to be, but you don't. You just have to accept your body for what it is and what it's done, because it's brought you to this point. One thing is when you have an eating disorder is you constantly think that that's the norm. Like, hello, normal naman mag-diet, normal naman gustong pumayat. Akala natin kasi yun yung normal. Akala natin yun yung kailangan natin gawin para ma-accept ng society, para maging kaparte ng mga tao. You think that that's how life is supposed to be. Constant struggle and constant cycle of dieting, because we see it from generation to generation and we see it in the media. It's not normal to constantly think of food or your body or constantly worry about your weight. That's not what we want to be normal, at least. What we want to be normal is you enjoying your life and enjoying your body. Brought you to this point so far, right? We all have this wonderful body that we have that can do so many things. And one thing that I want you to try to practice is, when you look at your body, don't say, ay, ang pangit mo naman, ang taba mo. Look at your body and say, this is my body. These are my legs that let me walk every day. These are my arms that let me carry things. This is my stomach that holds food because I need food to survive. So if we constantly tell ourselves that we are worthy no matter what, we'll be able to overcome these struggles. And hindi yun madali, syempre.
Hindi madali.
Araw-araw, kailangan mo talagang i-remind yung sarili mo. Kailangan mo i-surround yung sarili mo sa mga positive messages na hindi nagsasabi na kailangan mo maging ganito.
Kailangan natin kausapin si Jose.
Bakit naiiyak si Jose?
Bossing, may pinagdadaanan po si Jose.
I know that I get very carried away when I speak about messages of like body positivity, body acceptance. So I feel like I had also gone quite over time on this.
Teka, matanong ko lang, magaling na ba si Jo?
I feel like I'm close to recovery. Because one thing po is, I'm a dietitian. So, I'm a registered nutritionist and dietitian. So, nagka-chance po akong pag-aralan kung ano yung katawan ko, ano ba ginagawa ng pagkain kapag pumapasok sa katawan. Which also po to add to the team that can help you whenever you're trying to recover is, yes, a doctor, a psychiatrist, also very important, a dietitian, to teach you or to help you make those food choices. So dahil napag-aralan ko po yun, gumanda po yung relationship ko sa food. Na parang, okay, hindi kailangan bad food, good food. Lahat ng food, may nabibigay pa rin sa katawan mo.
Hindi pala lahat masama. Nakabuti sa kanya.
Oh.
Kasi magiging siya, vegetarian.
Funny, he noted that, vegetarian. Yes, I'm vegetarian.
Dietitian. Dietitian.
Dietitian.
So, yeah, the more you know, the more you're armed with,
Yes, most important, I think the biggest thing that helped me was the more that I knew about eating disorders, the more I knew about the value of food, and the more I knew about metabolic adaptation and your metabolism and the importance of taking care of yourself separate from weight as the main goal was the biggest thing that helped me in my road to recovery.
Jo, thank you. And
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. I hope you're well on your way to full recovery. Maraming salamat, Jo,
Thank
for
you po.
sharing.
Thank you for sharing your food. Thank you.
Jo.
Always, whenever you speak English, it's a big issue or it's a big thing, no? So that was my reaction to me being on Eat Bulaga, which was actually really funny because when it was showing, my lola's friend was watching it and then she messaged me, nasa Eat Bulaga ka man, pinapanood kasi ng lola ko. And I was just like,
Yeah, that's me. And I just like I got a lot of messages of people I didn't know watched Eat Bulaga, or I didn't know they would like even notice the fact that I was on it or anything like that. So that was really fun. I think that was the funnest part. So I just want you to know that if you are going through an eating disorder, or if you feel the stress and pressure of society, know that you are not alone, and also know that this is not what your life is going to have to be like for the rest of it. Okay, it's not gonna have to be a constant battle with your body and food. There is a way to overcome it and make peace with yourself and with food, and that is what we strive for. So if you guys ever want to talk, share your story or anything like that, you can message me on Instagram or you can email me so we can get the conversation rolling. So don't be afraid to share your story, because the more people share about their story, the more we can get people to feel comfortable about coming into recovery. That's very important. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit here and there. And if you like more videos, don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up. See you guys in the next video. Don't forget, you always deserve to eat.